There's a reason introverts are building profitable businesses faster than extroverts right now. They're not wasting energy on things that don't compound. Yet most introverts still think that they need to change who they are to make money. Turns out staying quiet and focusing on developing your skills is the exact advantage that you need as an introvert. And I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. So if you're an introvert who's been told that you need to network more, you got to post more, you got to show up more to build financial security, you've been given advice that actually waste your biggest advantage. See, most introverts are trying to force themselves into strategies that drain them instead of using the one thing that they're already good at, which is putting their head down and building something real. But if you are still trading your time for money and you are hoping that it's going to work out, you're actually leaving money on the table. But by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to turn the hours that you spend alone working on things into digital products, into books, and into content that's going to create income without requiring you to perform constantly or to step outside of your comfort zone as an introvert. Because the differences between introverts who stay broke and introverts who build real financial stability, it's not about personality at all. It's about whether they're spending their alone time building assets or just trading their hours for a paycheck. See, the first thing you need to understand is what you're actually doing when you stay at home and you put in work. See, when an extrovert, they out at a networking event somewhere, man, they out there for 3 hours, and guess what they do? All they walking away with is some business cards at best, right? But when you, as an introvert, you stay home for 3 hours, guess what? You're going to walk away with some pages written in your book. You're going to walk away with a video edited. You're going to walk away with a product that's built and ready for you to sell and make some money. See, these are not equal outcomes at all. See, this matters because business cards, as we know, they don't make no money, no more lie. But see, the assets that you're building in your quiet time as an introvert, they can actually produce you some income. So when you spend like 6 months writing a book, you now own something that you can sell over and over and over forever. So when you spend 3 months, let's say, building a digital product, again, you own something that can actually make you some money, like people like to say, while you sleep. It's real though. You actually can. So here's the thing. Let me give you another example. When you let's say you put in like 100 hours, right, researching some type of topic, man, or you're writing some scripts, or you're recording videos, or you're building this content library that's going to bring the right people to you. That is all helping you. But see, the extroverts, they got to keep showing up, right? But you have built something that's working and showing up for you while making you some moolah. That's what it's all about, introverts. So now I know what you're probably thinking, right? You're like, but yo, I don't need connections to make money, huh? Like, don't I need to connect? Don't I need to build up this network? And let's be honest, the true answer is no. In the world we live in today, you need something worth buying more than you need an extensive network. Now, I'm not downplaying the value of a network. I'm just saying, as an introvert, I don't want you to feel like you need to have a network before you can actually start getting out there and building assets and making money from that. The connections will come in time, right? But this is the thing that most people don't realize. Connections without a product means that you're actually still dependent on somebody else to hire you. But if you got a product, even if you don't have any connections, it means that you now own something that people will actually pay you for. I'd rather be in that position than the other one. So look at what's actually happening in 2026. If you don't believe me, man, there are people who are making real money. They're not the ones that everybody know. Most people that I know that are really successful, making some really good money, they run businesses where they ain't got no social profile. They not on YouTube. And you'll be like, how in the world are they doing that? Because they're locked in doing the things that matter. They have learned how they can be true to their identity as an introvert and still be successful, right? So the ones who built something, they are the ones who are building things that people need and people are willing to pay for. And I'd rather be one of those type of introverts. So I'm saying that to say, you don't need to know 500 people to be successful. If we want to be honest, all you really need is 50 people who will not know you, but will buy what you built. It's more about attracting buyers than it is about putting yourself out there and building this extensive network that may or may not translate into opportunities for you to grow your business, right? So this is the way I look at it. Every hour that you spend alone building something that you will eventually own, that's an hour that is going to compound over time. And let's be honest, every hour that's spent networking, man, that's an hour that is honestly going to disappear the second that you leave the room. Like I think about myself, like I went to a conference last year and it was a dope experience, man. I spent a whole I feel like we was like 3 or 4 days or something. And met a lot of cool people. And I walked away with let me show you right here at my desk. I walked away with a stack of these business cards. And guess what? No business came from it. No business came from it. But I left that conference. I came back, locked in, created a product, and I made moolah from it. See, I went to the event. I'm just keeping it in a buck. I went to the event thinking that, oh man, I'm gonna make some connections. I'm gonna meet some clients, and it's gonna put some money in my pocket. It didn't. I spent more money going to the event, and it didn't produce any type of business. Now that you could say, oh man, well, you didn't put in the work or you didn't make the right connections. Like there's a lot of different things that could be said. The point that I'm trying to make is I was technically in the hole when I focused on trying to do what extroverts do and go to networking events and connect with people face to face and use that to build my business versus being right here in the office, locked in the crib and building a product that people want and then validating it and selling it. That worked out way better for me. And this is what I'm encouraging you as an introvert. It's like you don't have to put yourself in a position unless you want to do the things that introverts are doing. Like you can get the results that you want without ever having to do that. So I just wanted to share that as, my own personal experience doing that. So with that in mind, I got to point out something that I think a lot of introverts tend to miss. And it's that it's that successful introverts, they don't just create, they think before they create. And that thinking is what's actually going to make the difference between them building something that is going to sell and building something that's actually going to just sit on their hard drive and do nothing. Because that's another mistake that some entrepreneurs or introverts make is, they're not going out and about. They're in there and they're tinkering in the office, but like they never actually launch it. Like they create things, but then they don't put it in the marketplace to make money. Like you don't want to be on that end of the spectrum either. So I just want to encourage you before you write your book, you got to be reading other books. You got to be figuring out what are people buying. You got to notice what's working, what isn't working so that you don't waste time creating a product that's not going to sell. You got to be asking yourself what's missing if your product isn't working or it's not likely to sell. That's where the research comes in. So I just want to encourage you before you build any digital product or any digital asset, you got to pay attention to what people are actually struggling with. What are the problems that they want to solve and make sure you're building your product around that. You got to watch and ask questions and see what is coming up. What are people talking about? You got to find and identify those gaps. And this is where market research comes into play. And for many introverts, this fits right up their alley, especially if you're into doing that research, right? So even though most introverts don't feel like it, this is actually a plus for you. So before you record a video, for example, if you're a content creator and you're spending hours researching the topic and finding angles that no one else cover, writing the script that actually makes sense, that is what's going to separate the content that gets ignored from the content that actually gets watched. See, I hate to do this, but I feel like a lot of extroverts, not introverts, extroverts, they tend to skip those steps. Like they're not interested so much in doing that. I'm not saying all of them. I think most of them, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it plays a role, but they tend to just jump straight into execution before they have, put some thought and some planning into it because to them, they feel more comfortable just winging it, just putting stuff out there. But I it just don't align with me. Maybe other introverts can, relate to it. But like to me, I just feel like when you're winging it, in many cases, you're just guessing or you're just hoping that something works out. And, guessing in my estimation means that you're building things that people probably or may not even need, which is going to waste time and effort when you could have just sat down and like done some research and figured out what people wanted before you just took action and started doing it. So in my estimation, the reason that a book is going to sell is because you've spent time thinking about what should be in that book. And the reason that a product is going to work is because you spent time understanding what problems your market wants to have solved. And the reason why your video is going to get viewed and it's going to get watched is because you didn't just hit record and just start talking off the top of your head. You created something that was worth watching for a specific audience, right? So the hours that you spend alone thinking are not wasted time if you're using it to benefit you in the sense of creating assets, products, and videos that can be beneficial to the people that you are looking to serve, right? There's a reason that what you build is actually going to work. But thinking and building, they still aren't enough. Like if you're doing it the wrong way. So I want to dive deeper into this because the third thing I want to talk about is the fact that you need to understand that most introverts are using their best hours to actually make somebody else rich. Like let's be real. That's the kicker. You don't you don't want to just be introverted, but missing out on the opportunity to take control of your own financial destiny. Like, don't spend that time making somebody else rich, unless that's your choice. I'm just saying, I feel like there's a better way to utilize your skill set and your advantage as an introvert, right? And let's just see how this happens, right? You got a lot of introverts that, they're out there, they're writing content for a company blog, they're editing videos for somebody else's channel, they're building products that they'll never own. And that can be a trap because why aren't you doing those things for yourself? If you're spending like 20 hours a week and you're building something that you don't own, like you're giving away all 20 hours of that leverage to somebody else. But when you write a book, those hours are going to turn into something that you own forever if you're writing your own book. And it's going to make you money every single time that somebody buys it. When you build a product, those hours that you spent creating that product, that asset, it's going to work without you, meaning it is going to sell even while you're asleep. When you grow your own YouTube channel, those hours that you spend building that audience and building that trust in them is going to lead them to a place where they actually are wanting to buy from you. But when you do the same work for somebody else, man, those hours are gone. The second that you get paid, they pay you and it's like, cool. And they're the ones that get to reap the benefits of the compounding of all of those assets that you've helped them create, right? You can't sell them again, right? You don't own those results. You're trading your time for money, and that time is eventually going to run out. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, but I need that paycheck. I got to make that money. Being an entrepreneur is risky. I want to be 100. I want to be real. I want to look at you in the eye and tell you this. I'm not telling you to quit your day job, especially not doing it tomorrow. What I'm advising and recommending that you consider doing is just taking 5 hours a week, right? Those hours that you're already spending alone anyway, and put them towards something that you own. Right? Start writing your book, start building your product, start recording videos for your channel. Those 5 hours won't feel like much at first, but in 6 months, you'll have something that you have built with all of those times that you've been putting in over time. And then when you look up in a year, man, you're gonna have something that should at that point be making you some money. It may not be life-changing money, but it will validate the fact that, oh man, like I could have been utilizing this skill set to make some money a long time ago. But don't worry about that. Just focus on the fact that you're able to accomplish that now. That's the main thing, because the shift from building for somebody else to building for yourself, that's the shift from doing what? Renting your time to owning the income that you're making. And introverts are already spending a lot of time alone. You just need to aim that time and that focus at the right thing. And I feel like the best thing to do is start to build your own digital assets to do that, because the reason staying quiet is your advantage in 2026, right? That's the whole point of this video, is because while everybody else, they're out there performing, you're building. And the people who build things, especially assets that they own, those are the ones who are going to end up financially secure. That's what I want for you. I know that's what I want for myself, right? So your silence is a power. Your focus is a power. Your alone time is a power. But let's be honest, procrastination will cancel it all out. So if you've been putting something off, the next video is for you, right? I want you to watch the video that I did called "If You Put This Off One More Day, You Will Never Experience the Success That You Know You Deserve." I hope you enjoy it. I'm Jay. That's all I got for you guys in this one. Until next time, stay blessed.